Hello, everybody. This is Conquering History Games, and it's an exciting day. Today is going to be the first pre-recorded premiere of a campaign for the Battle of Wesnoth. This is a very fun game. It's a hex-based strategy game that I first discovered several years ago. It's kind of an older game. It's been around for, I want to say, 15 years or so. And I discovered it when I switched to using the Linux operating system for quite a while. And when I first switched to Linux, I remember telling a friend of mine, there's no games on Linux. And we had this hex-based board game that we would sometimes play that was based on the Battle of Waterloo. And he said, if you like hex-based stuff, you should check out this thing called Battle for Wesnoth. It's totally free. And it has a lot of fun campaigns. And I ended up really enjoying it. Now, some of you may have seen me do live streams of this, sometimes just sort of to gauge reactions, and people seem to have liked it, even if they have never seen it before. So I hope that you all are going to enjoy it too. So what we are going to start today is the first of what I hope is going to be several campaigns for the Battle of Wesnoth on the channel. As you see, there are several different campaigns, each of which are composed of several scenarios. So, for example, A Tale of Two Brothers, which is this first one, which I'm going to start playing today, just so we can introduce ourselves into the series, into the game itself. But there's many others, and you can get to play as many fantastic creatures. So we're going to be playing as humans here, but you can play as elves. You can play as kind of like bandits. You can play as dwarves. There's wizards and whatnot. There's even like a science fiction futuristic one. Battle for Wesnoth has certainly changed, because I remember when this guy, for example, used to have a different portrait, which actually a few of these used to have different portraits. Anyway, but we are going to be doing one. I'm only going to be using one mod here, but it's an important one. I am going to be using the no randomness mod, and I'll explain what that is in a little more detail once we are inside the game. But we're going to start, and I'm going to read through the cutscenes, or the story, so to speak. I am also going to be playing on Horseman just for this campaign. In future campaigns, we're going to be going harder than that. But this is just going to be a 4-episode campaign, so I can explain how the game works, introduce you all to it, and then in the next one, which I don't know which one it'll be. I'll probably do a poll or something to determine what'll be the next campaign I do. But for this first one, it's just going to be mostly about introducing you, the viewer, to how the Battle for Wesnoth works. So let's go ahead and get started. All right. There should be a little cutscene here. Yeah, and by cutscene, I mean dialogue. All right, let's hop into the story. The remote freehold of Magre in the western reaches of the kingdom of Wesnoth was once a peaceful place, its inhabitants largely unaware of the comings and goings of the wider world. Wars and rumor of wars touched them not, until the day a dark mage settled in the region and began seeking sacrifices for his evil summonings. Skeletons and zombies killed cattle and fired fields. Fear and obey Mordak the mage, they cried in fell voices. They did their foul deeds. People vanished from isolated farmsteads. Men and women began to fear the night, and their children even the bright day. But the nearest lord was more than a day's ride distance, and the messengers sent to seek his help did not return. There was a man named Baron, who had shown talent as a mage when he was young, gone to the great academy on the Isle of Alduin, and returned to work his magic in the land where he was born. The people looked to him for help and leadership. He found weapons half forgotten from the times of their sires and grandsires, hanging in many houses, and bade the villagers to take them down and clean and oil them. He set the smiths of Magar to make spearheads and axe blades for the rest. Now Baran had a brother named Arvith, who had also left Magare to seek his fortune, and had become the leader of a small band of horsemen who hired out as guards to merchant caravans. Fortunate it was for all when Baran was but an apprentice mage, he made a pair of amulets for himself and his brother, with which they might call to each other when in dire need. Baran sent out that call. 12V 363YW. Excerpt from the Journal of Baran of Magre. If I could just face this Mordock, I think my magic might prove stronger than his. But he bides in the hills, well guarded by his servants, and I muster frightened peasants to fight his minions with blades and sticks. I need my brother. He always had a better head for battle than I. Will he heed the call? I do not know if he has kept the amulet. We have not spoken since that evil day at Toan Karek. If he will not come for me, perhaps he will return to aid our village in its hour of desperate need. Heeding the call of his amulet, Arvith gathered such men as he could and hurried to Magre to help Baran. This is Wesnoth, by the way. Alright. Greetings, brother, and welcome home. Hail. Is that all, Arvith? I understand, but... You called and I came. Be content with that. What ails Magre? A dark mage has come upon us. His creatures call him Mordock. They have been terrorizing outlying farms, and we fear they may soon attack the village itself. The villagers of Magre have taken up weapons that are not trained, but they are not trained fighters. We need your men and you to lead them. I can feel Mordock's foul touch on the hidden currents of the earth and air. He is somewhere due north of here. I would say not more than 2 days' ride. All right, I will do this for the village. Can you keep the mage off our backs? I will go stealthily with a handful of our best scouts and woodsmen, while you demonstrate against him and kill his creatures. I will try to defeat Mordock himself with magic at an unguarded moment. You shall be the right hand, I the left. Aye, brother? Aye, just make sure you're there when we need you. So, rooting out a mage. Victory conditions. We must slay Mordock. Defeat is if Arvith dies or our turn runs out. We only have 18 turns. Combined to win the scenario. Gold over carryover. There's an early finish bonus, which will let us get more gold. And 40% of the gold that I have at the end of the scenario will carry over to the next scenario. And they sometimes will give you a hint here. Use footpads as fodder to protect your loyal units and attack during the day to minimize the damage your forces take. Okay, so we just need to spend a little bit of time here talking about these units. So this is a hex-based game. So for example, I can click on one of these hexes, and here we have Tarek, the Horseman. Every unit gets a unique name, which is something I like. That way you can bond to them before they die. He is a horseman, and there's lots of very helpful tooltips here. So he's a horseman. He can do charging attacks. He is considered lawful, so there's different alignments that different units have. So because he is lawful, he does 25% more damage during the day and 25% less damage during the night. We're going to be fighting against zombies and things like that who are chaotic. So if we were to go over here to Mordock himself, as we see chaotic, it is the opposite. He is more powerful during the night. Now the Horseman, he is a human. That's just his race, and his trait is that he is loyal, so he has 0 upkeep. He costs me no money to use. This Horseman in particular is quick, which means that he can move 1 tile further than usual, but he gets 5% less health points. His health points are here. He's got 36. He is resistant to arcane and blade attacks, but he is weak to piercing attacks. He has no experience modifier, but as his experience grows, he'll be able to upgrade and things like that. He has his movement costs here. So there's a lot of information put into a very small area. His weapon of choice is the spear, which does a base damage of 9, but with his specials it becomes 18. It's a melee attack, and it does piercing damage. He also has a weapon special charge. When used offensively, this attack deals double damage to the target. It also causes this unit to take double damage from the target's counterattack. And that's basically how every unit works. So, you know, for example, this bowman, he is loyal, but he is so no upkeep, but he is also intelligent, so he takes 20% less XP to attack. This footpad here, he is chaotic, so he does more damage at night. He is resilient, so he gets more HP, and he'll also continue to grow HP as he levels up. And then there's Arvith himself, who is just lawful. He doesn't get any special traits. Finally, we have our Spearman here. We got some that are resilient. There's quick ones. Yeah. Oh, this Horseman is strong, so he does more damage and has more HP. So you have various effects, as I was saying. Now, in a campaign, any unit that survives the scenario will carry over to another one. So it pays off to level up certain units, because then you're going to be able to use them later in the game. And because all of these are loyal, so they have 0 upkeep, so as you can see, I'm not paying any sort of upkeep here. I've got 8. I'm also getting 8 gold a turn because I own these villages. All these ones with the little red flag belong to me. We want to try to get through this whole scenario without any of the loyals dying. Now, there's a few actions we can do here. Because Arvith is a character who can recruit, First off, let's move some of these divisions out of the way. I mean, some of our units out of the way, like these horsemen. So you see, you just drag them along and then move them to where they're going to go. You can of course not have two. You cannot have two units on the same tile, but you can have units move through another friendly unit, as I just did with this footpad here. But what we're going to do is we can right click and click recruit. There's also Control R that we can use, and I can recruit units into these tiles here. So we've got bowmen, footpads, horsemen, and spearmen, all of which we have available. I think I am just going to probably recruit, because I have 40 gold, I'm thinking maybe 2 footpads and a bowman. Now I'm using Control R, that's opening this up. Another footpad. And, oops, I miscalculated. Actually, I'm not allowed to get another one. Okay, so we've got the 2 footpads. Now, they can't move. You cannot move these things the turn that they're used, but as you can see, they have their own abilities. So this one, he is intelligent and resilient. This one is quick and he is resilient. So there's going to be little differences between them. Think of them like Pokemon. Now, our goal is, of course, to kill the mage, so we're going to be working our way over here. I'm sending my horsemen north so they can grab these couple of villages so we can have more money coming in. Now, I'm not going to be too aggressive. We have 18 turns, which is an awful lot of turns considering how small the map is. So we're going to just slowly start to move our units west. And I think I'm probably going to leave behind Arvith for another turn. And then he might recruit a little bit more on the next one, and then we'll have him start advancing forward. Your leaders tend to be very powerful. For example, this one, he has the Lance ability, which is a 28 damage, which is very strong. If we were to look at, say, the Spearman has 41 health, so if I hit him twice with the Lance, which he does get 2 attacks of, if we just ignored all other resistances and bonuses and things, he could take out this Spearman in one hit. But of course, the thing with leaders is that they can die easily, so that's the give and take. And you have these different terrains here as well. We'll talk about that later, and I'm also going to talk about what the no randomness mod does later as well. So as you can see, Mordak the Dark Sorcerer up here, he has now recruited several units. We can take looks at them. We can see what their HP is. There's not so much of a fog of war in these scenarios, at least not in the typical sense you would have with a strategy game. A lot of these are intelligent. You see, like this ghoul here is undead. So that means he's immune to draining, poison, and the plague, because there are special abilities that certain unit types have where they can do those things. So you can poison a unit, and then over time it will continuously lose health, things like that. So can I get any of these over to that village? It's going to take 2 turns, unfortunately. So the computer is usually going to plot for you the best way to get somewhere. So as you can see here, if I was to go directly north, I'm only going to be able to get into this water with this. This is as far as I can go, just one tile south of these. Whoa, pardon me, these lily pads. So it's much better to actually go over the bridge, which is not going to be hitting me with unit penalties. You can look at the train description of anything. There's lots of tooltips and help in this game. So it's of course better to go over the bridge rather than run through the water so you can go further. So we're gonna keep having our horsemen here move to the north so they can grab these villages and stuff. So that's a windmill as opposed to this, which is a proper cottage. Let's get our footpads moving. Footpads move pretty fast, which is nice. And we can recruit one more unit. Let's go ahead and get ourselves a bowman. And now we're going to start moving west with the rest of our forces. So it's dark right now. We don't want to be fighting any of the enemy units at the moment, though it's not actually an issue because they're so far away they can't reach us. Although you do want to be aware of how far certain units can go when they want to. Notice, by the way, how this unit has the yellow orb above him. This means that he still has movement that he could use. Wait a second. Let me check something here. Okay. Alright. So, what you could do, because sometimes in these scenarios you can end up having tons and tons of units, is you can click N and it'll take you to the next unit that still has movement. But I am not going to use this one's movement because it takes a certain amount to walk through the forest. It takes 2 movement points, and he only has 1. So we could go to the south here, but what's the point of that? Because it's just going to take us further away from the combat. So I think let's hit N. Let's hit N again. Nothing else is coming up, so we know that all the units have been used. So we're going to go ahead and move on now. Alright, and here they come. Notice the differences in how far some of these units go. So again, looking at the movement, this one has 6 movement points. This one has 9. Plus it's a bat, so certain things don't affect it quite as much. This Dark Adept here has taken up control of this castle area here, this ruined keep. Now, keeps are important because this is where you can recruit units. Now, he personally can't recruit units, but by being here, he is stopping Arvith, my leader, from occupying this tile, and then I can recruit more units here. So this could become a forward operating base for the enemy if Mordak decides to come down here. But I don't think he's going to. I think he's going to stay back here where he feels more protected. Also, enemy units ending up in this castle could be bad because it's going to give defensive bonuses to the enemy. Now we're going to probably getting into some combat here soon, because it's still night, so we don't want to get too close. So I'm actually going to pull these horsemen back a little bit here. There's another village up here I might grab. So you can see we're getting 10 gold a turn, which is good. We're going to keep moving west, trying to keep these footpads up front. Actually, that was a loyal one, so I just made a mistake. But that's fine, because you can just hit U, and it'll undo something you immediately did, which is a very helpful tool, like if your finger slips or something, and oh no, I'm in the water, you just hit U and it's going to undo it. So I don't consider that cheating. But it's up to you. So that's your own judgment, what you think of it. Alright, so we're going to kind of hang back a little bit. Let's get a couple of the non-loyal footpads towards the front, and we're just going to start consolidating, clumping together our units. Let's do something like that. We could move him over here. He'll be fine. Now you also could hover over enemy units. It's going to show you how far they can travel. So you see, by hanging back here, none of them can attack me this turn, which is what you don't want to do, because they're all chaotic. They're all getting bonuses, which, as you can see, during the night. See, they're plus 25%. So I know that we're over 15 minutes in and we haven't experienced combat yet, but I'm just trying to really emphasize how the game works. So as you can see, the enemy, he is also taking these villages. He wants gold income. He wants to be able to make more units, and that's perfectly fine. Now, I don't think we're technically in the day. Yeah, we are in the dawn right now, so nobody's getting any combat bonuses anywhere at the moment. Let's see, can this guy reach this village? Wonderful. Let's do something like that. This is just a windmill, but I think it gives me a little bit of defensive properties. So we're gonna hang out over there. Let's start getting our footpads to move forward. Again, we don't want the loyal ones to be moving too far. We're going to bring this footpad right here because he's going to help block any movement through this bridge, because it's zones of control that are very important. Okay, this one's loyal. Where's the other non-loyal footpad? Right here. Yori or something. Okay, so now we are looking at how you attack an enemy. So if I were to do this, and I can cancel it if I chose I didn't want to, but this, when you click one of your own units and then you click one of the enemy units, this screen is going to pop up attacking the enemy. You're going to get a breakdown of how the two of you look, comparing HP, comparing experience, comparing what type of, if you're chaotic or lawful. And you're going to get a list of every possible attack that you can do. Some units can only attack with melee, others are melee and ranged, as this one is. So this dude over here is basically a wizard, so he can use the chill wave. Oh, you also have these damage calculations, which will break certain things down. We're not actually going to be really using this, because I'm using the no randomness mod. You see, typically, if I was to attack Midian here, I could attack with a sling, and it says 5 times 2. So I'm going to throw a rock at him that will do 5 damage twice. underneath this number, 60%, is telling me the odds that it will hit. So I have a 60. So since I have a 60% chance of winning, in theory, of hitting him, in theory, I could hit him both times and inflict 10 damage. But because there is that 40% chance on each shot that I'm going to miss, I could potentially do no damage to him. Meanwhile, he has his attack, Chill Wave, which is going to do 10 damage twice, because he does get to counterattack. And he could potentially do 20 damage to me, or 0. Now, I always was super frustrated with this, because there would be times you could go into an attack, and you have like a 70% chance of hitting 4 times, and you miss all of them, and then your opponent has like a 20% chance, and then he hits you 3 times in a row. And it would get really, really frustrating. And I felt that it took some of the strategy out of the game. And I know that there's purists out there who say, well, the randomness is part of the game. I personally didn't like it. So, what we're instead going to see with the no randomness mod is that these percentage chances are going to reduce the attack by that much. By which I mean, let's say I was going to do 10 damage, or the Chill Wave. So this Chill Wave would usually do 10 damage every time it hits. Because he has a 70% chance, the way the no randomness mod works is he will instead hit me both times, guaranteed, because the no randomness mod works both ways, but each attack will only do 7. Now this is of course before taking in any other calculations. So the no randomness mod means that you're not going to get lucky and have the big powerful enemy miss its big strong attack, but it also means that none of your well-calculated attacks are going to miss either. So I hope I made that perfectly clear. And having said that, we are going to just use the club, even though it's weaker, because he does not have any melee attacks to counter me with. So we will attack. And as you can see, each hit did 2 damage because 60% to 40, and then I think the game always rounds down. So I would have needed a 75% chance in order to get the 4 hits. So we just kind of tapped him a little bit. That's it. All right. I think I've spoken quite enough. We're going to keep moving these people up. Let's try to get a Spearman in here. See, this is very good because we're going to get 3 strikes with his spear. And it's always very good to isolate enemy units anytime you can, like this. Now we're going to get our leader involved here. And let's see, 60% of 28, that's going to be more than enough to defeat Midyan here. So he's down, and you'll also notice everybody has a little bit of experience now. So this footpad, he's got 1, and so on and so forth. And sometimes it's worth it to kind of farm experience. You'll see those sorts of things happen. We're going to also attack this adept in the village. Now this time it only did 1 damage to him, and that was because he's in the village, so he's getting a defensive bonus. Alright, let's keep moving everybody up a little bit. Let's get our bowman. Okay, but now I'm gonna start moving much faster. Now that I feel that I've basically explained everything that you all need to know about the game. See, notice how he healed because he's in the village. That's another perk of being in one. Now they're isolating my footpad, and he's coming in with those 7 attacks. But he is gonna make it because there were only so many tiles that they could occupy around him. So now it's all about rotation. We're going to bring him back, although he's been poisoned, so I think he's going to die. In fact, yeah, he's going to die because this is not a level where you have healers. Unless I can yeah, I think the only chance I would have is if I took this village, which I can't because it's occupied, and there's too many tiles in the way stopping me from getting it. That's the way it goes. So now, in the north here, we have an opportunity. This vampire bat has decided to leave himself totally isolated for some reason. So we're going to hit him with our spear here a couple times. And we should be able to make really easy work of him. Although, you see, he drains with his attack, so that's the perk of the vampire bat. But we got him now. And notice after I attack, I cannot move anymore, so I'm not going to be able to take this village. But one of the good things here is that if they all continue to move south, all my horsemen might be able to come over here and deal with Mordak all on his own. But I think instead they're going to be I'm going to have them snatch up some villages and things like that. So in hopes that he may survive, I don't think he's going to. We're going to pull this footpad back, and we're going to have we're going to get some others in here now. So if we took a look at this ghoul, let's see, what is he resistant to? He's resistant to arcane, he's resistant to 40, he's resistant to piercing, so we want to be using impact things on him. He has a blade type attack, etc., etc. Let's try to, again, we're gonna try to get those free hits in whenever we can. So melee units, of course, are very good against these dark adepts because they can't respond in kind. You see, now we opened up another tile. Others can come forward. Now you use the ranked on a melee enemy. What is this? Arvith, I hear these creatures are nigh immune to our weapons. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not able to do too much. But we are going to now cut off this bridge. We're continuing to isolate. Isolation and rotation. That's the name of the game. Alright, and we're going to get this Spearman right here, because it's all about the zones of control. You see, now he can't come around. Now our leader is completely secure, except for this one area here. And I think we're going to use the lance. Yeah. And that ought to be enough. See, that was not so hard. And he got a bonus XP because he actually killed the enemy. Alright. Now, I think that's everybody, but of course you just hit N. You see there's this footpad that still hasn't done anything. Let's just continue to try to keep him safe. But he's probably going to die right now because of the poison. And Mordak here is still building new units. See, this was a mistake. They probably should have had this magician come in. Oh, I see. See, the AI can be smart. So I was going to say this sorcerer probably could have finished off the bowman, but instead they had him come down here and start to weaken the spearman so our bowman could be hurt. Alright, Baran should be in position by now. Press them, distract the adept so Baran can spring his trap. Let's keep grabbing these villages. And I think we're going to probably have some of our horsemen come down here and prepare to flank. So let's see if I cannot take this village. It's going to be difficult. I don't think I'm going to be able to. Wait, there we have it. Yeah. So now we can bring this bowman over here, where he'll hopefully heal up. We're going to come around here like this. Take out this slinger. Alright, so now we need to protect the bowman. Keep him from being attacked so he can begin to heal in the village. Alright, another adept down. Things look very, very good for us here. Now, again, looking at the adept, see there's no way for him to get to my footpad. There's no way for him to get to my bowman. Looks great. There you have it. We've cleared out pretty much all the enemies already. But we might farm some of them for experience. I'd like to have one upgraded unit before the end of this, just so I could demonstrate how it works. All right, in turn. Alright, come on, keep working on this guy. Keep working on him. So you have to be careful because his claws, they do poison. Now we can also bring our fearless leader up here, and I could recruit yet more units if I wanted. So maybe we'll get a horseman, for example. Let's get a spearman too. And we're still pulling a profit. We can do a lot more. And you see at this point we clearly have it won, but it's just about grabbing gold. We're gonna do that. Start moving them up here. And again, I would like to upgrade one of these units if I can. Alright, whoops. Move this footpad up. We'll go ahead and leave the bowman there. Now, rivers are great defensive positions because any enemy that has to attack out of a river is going to take a big offensive bonus. See, these guys are getting hurt because of the poison. See, he's going to hit me with 60% of 11 twice. Let's cancel that. We're not going to attack with that. We're let's have him hit with the javelin. Just going to wear him down. Okay, we still can work him. Okay, and now we should be able to come in and finish him off. There it is. So this guy's getting more experience. He's up to 10 out of 44. It's going to be a little bit hard, I think, actually, to get him all the way up to a knight. Now, something dirty we could start to do is fill up these tiles so that he's not even able to recruit. But we want to be careful. He's got some powerful attacks here. He's got his chill wave. He's got some arcane magic. We don't want to give him too much of a chance to hurt us. All right. How are we looking? This bowman, we'll just keep him back there. You know, we're just pulling in money every turn now. Got this villager. He's totally isolated now, so let's give this a turn or so. Or be sure to have only, yeah, kind of cheaper units fill up these tiles. And this is going to prevent him from recruiting anything else. See, he has melee and ranged attacks, though, so we have to be careful. We're not going to be able to just wear him down with no consequences anymore. But every little bit counts, and he's not as good with his staff as he is with his magic. Yeah, we're going to still stick with a short sword, because I'm a little bit more worried about his magic than anything. It's going to take a long time to chop him down. Alright, we're going to keep you here. In the turn. Baran has not made his attack. Could he have abandoned us? No, no, this is something else. I'm worried about him. But right now, we have to deal with this Mordak ourselves. Alright, so this guy is still suffering from the poison. Let's bring him over here. See, you can tell because he has that green tint still. Still wearing him down. And they'll still keep their experience, any units that I have fighting here. So even if they don't level up, you know, we're getting lots of units with experience. It's down to 14 HP. It's not going to take much longer now. Let's see, what can we do here? Yeah, 20 by 2. Very good. Mordak! Arg! Good work, men, but what has become of my brother? Worried about him, are you? There's nothing more to be had from this one. We will have to search for Baran ourselves. Sir, our scouts report that Baran was seen captured and carried away further north. That they should dare this. We will give chase at once. And now we are victorious because we got the early finish bonus. We're going to be getting 16 gold per turn early that we finished up. We're getting 120 total bonus gold, total gold 180 because the carryover percentage is 40. And so we're going to start with 72 gold on top of the minimum gold in the next scenario. And that is all there is to it. That's the battle for Wesnoth. In the next episode, we're going to start heading north and work on the rest of the scenario. So that was just, I know this episode was a little bit long, and there certainly are scenarios in some of the more advanced campaigns that are going to go this long naturally, but I really wanted to make sure that everybody understood the rules and how the game works and the importantness of the no random mod as far as just simplifying everything. So thank you for your time. I'm Conquering History Games. Please subscribe if you haven't already and click the bell so you're always notified whenever a new Battle for Wesnoth video goes up. I'm very excited about this game being on the channel, and I hope that you are too. And let's see, if this gets some good positive reaction, I might make this first campaign a daily one, just so we can knock out this, because I am playing on just the beginner difficulty, so I can explain it simply to you. And then we can then move on to another more complex campaign as well. So, anyway, you all have yourselves a great day.